W. Andrews, F.W. Wayne Wilmer, Virgil H. Gibson, David Grafkus.
Carl Wonk, Theodore V. Janis, Peter Lamonoco, Ralph Martin Jr., Emmett Reed.
Norris Ross, Robert C. Bob Schroeder, Thomas R. Shugru, Elmer Venn, and John Wiltsey.
At this time, to memorialize all of our deceased in the last 2 years, I have asked Cindy Lucky, daughter of Bob Schroeder, to read the eulogy that she provided at his funeral. Cindy?
On November 5th, 2011, the Bole Association lost one of its plank members, and our family lost its anchor. I'm honored to share with you the eulogy I gave at my father's memorial service. It honors him and every veteran, past, present, and to come, who loved this country, fight for it, and keep it strong. How do we celebrate this one big life? What is fitting? What is proper? What is right? How do we celebrate a life so big, so full, and sometimes hard to believe it was lived in just one lifetime? Do we remember his last days and his valiant struggle to live as he lay dying? Do we examine his abiding faith and reverence for God, how hymns would realm up inside of him and reveal themselves as beautiful notes upon the page? Do we consider his intellect, his curiosity of the fundamental chemistry in life, and the complex mathematics encompassing everything we do? Do we count his friends, everyone so dear to him he never lost contact, although decades would pass? Do we listen to the uncommonly diverse music he loved and how he bequeathed that love to his children? Do we gaze upon children the way he did, warming their little hearts with the twinkle in his eye? Do we honor his steadfast and unequivocal patriotism, how his love for country was so deep, just the sight of an American flag brought tears to his eyes? How do we celebrate this one big, wonderful life? We hear his song, how he would break out in a familiar tune at any moment for the checker at the grocery store or his favorite waitress at the local restaurant. How he would stand so steadfastly and play taps, the notes so mournful and true for his fallen comrades, for his father, for his sister, his brother-in-law, his friends. How he would sit at the piano for hours, playing everything from Bunny Berrigan to Rachmaninoff, encouraging all of us who listen to appreciate the inspiration and magic of music. We will never listen to Handel's Messiah again without thinking of him, how he loved the glorious voices raised in jubilant song. We share his humor, how he would laugh uncontrollably at Tom Lear's irreverent comments on life, or Spike Jonze's laughing record, or a big dose of Bill Cosby. How he loved a good joke and would tell it over and over until we all knew the punchline by heart. We respect his lessons. Study hard, do your homework, be prepared. An intellectual all his life, he never stopped learning, he never stopped teaching, his bookshelves broad with history and science. He was always incredibly touched when students would come up to him, shake his hand, and thank him. It would frustrate him terribly that he couldn't remember their names, but as my sister pointed out, Dad had thousands of students, but they only had one Dad. We honor his service. He was so proud to serve his country. Only 18 when he joined the Naval Reserves, he was in the Pacific Theater in World War II and in the Mediterranean during the Korean conflict. He was a plank owner of the John A. Bole, went to his dedication in Washington, D.C. and reunited with his fellow shipmates until he was unable to travel. And he was such a handsome guy in his uniform. No wonder my mom fell head over heels in love with him. He was always so moved when someone would thank him for his service. In his honor, we should do the same for others. We embrace his sincerity. When she was very young, my sister Bobby was in Godspell, and Dad sat in the front row. Watching her sing, he was so proud and so overwhelmed, he took his glasses off and wept and wiped away the tears. It happened again and again in happiness and sorrow, and he was never ashamed of that raw and profound emotion. He gave his children sensitive souls, and we now cry all the time. But our tears are a reflection of his enormous heart and his love of life and the soaring heights and reeling depths of living every day with your heart wide open. We heed his prayer. We bow to the reverence by which he led his life, always steered by what is right and what is true. He sang God's praises and loved his fellow man. He was an upstanding citizen. He was honest as the day was long. He led an honorable life. In celebrating him, we must do the same. We marvel at his tenacity. He set goals for himself constantly. After my mom passed away, the family walked in the Relay for Life for Cancer, and he wanted to log 10 miles. He calculated how many times he had to walk around the track and how fast he had to go to complete his mission. And although some of us were tired and took a break, there was Dad zipping around the track with the determination and stubbornness of an old general. When he lived in Florida, he made a promise he would swim as far as the distance between Venice, Florida and Woodstock, Illinois, his home, some 1,500 miles. He calculated the number of laps, the amount of time. He never made it, but came unbelievably close for a man in his 70s. He never ceased to amaze us and delight us and teach us that courage and strength are not just the basis of determination, but the reward. And we remember. Pictures of my father will always be present in our lives, sitting in his backyard appreciating an icy cold beer, popcorn on Sunday nights, lamenting the beleaguered Cubs as they lost again, fixing coffee for my mom on Saturday mornings and lining up little glasses of juice for us kids, teaching my sister Chris how to swing a bat, painting the house with my brother. Our family vacations were legend. We laughed on those trips until we felt sick to our stomachs. We visited every Capitol building and every roadside overlook from here to Wyoming. We all remember the time we stopped at a rest stop and Dad fell asleep using my brother's teddy bear as a pillow. Or when this strange contraption he called an air conditioner that sat on the window of the car like a car hop tray and used ice cubes as the cooling agent, started spitting water on us kids in the back seat. These are moments that make up our memory, loving pictures that will live with us forever. My sister once told me he visited her in-laws on their lake house up north, and he stood on the pier and played reveille early in the morning with the mist rising around him. I can see him now, this extraordinary man, standing respectfully and strong, his love of life flowing his notes across the water, echoing in the distance and echoing in our broken hearts. And he will be there always, always, and we will never forget him.
Bugler play taps.